Alright, here goes nothing, man. Let us see whether it works. Gonna have to load up my stream. It begins! Oh my gosh, it begins. I see the notification in my Twitter. Well, Twitch. Now, I could also post to my Twitter. Let's do that real quick. Let's see. Gonna go over to my full screen here. Okay, yeah. Anyways, close that real quick. No more streamception. Anyways, looks like we've got that there. Gonna go over to my window real quick and shit post about this real quick. Alright guys, time to POAST. Test stream on Twitch. May get into some custom contact work for WHM. Okay, let's go back to OBS. Alright, anyways, so we've got the beautiful music going. We've got everything else okay. I think we're ready, man. Alright, so let's see. I don't have any chat here, so that's kind of interesting. I don't think I actually have it except as a kind of secondary stream chat window here. I can just check it from time to time. It won't matter. Okay. So, anyways, the other day in the cPanel Discord channel, I had a request. There was a kind of feature request up on features.cpanel.net for this, as you can see right here, for quite some time. Well, whenever it loads, anyways. Okay, so looks like from 3 years ago, actually. That's probably about maybe a year after I originally released my first eye contact notification stuff here. Wonder how old this stuff actually is. Okay. Yeah, well, it's been here a while. Take a look at the commits. Go back to the start. That'll tell me when it was. So 2018, yeah. Yeah, that's about right. Just about right as far as whenever I actually published it. Let's go to older. 22, yeah, older. Here we go. So it's all the way back in 2017. Golly. But yeah, unsurprisingly, it was right after we made this stuff pluggable that I got that request from Terrence there. I don't think Terrence actually works for cPanel anymore, but that doesn't matter. More like I just haven't heard from him for a while. It's a shame. Anyways, we've got this little feature here. In case any of y'all don't know, you can kind of see the Web Pro shirt. I do work for cPanel, the amazing Mr. Teodesian. So I do kind of on the side some work for various cPanel plugins. I've got one that I've got kind of on the back burner right now during all this COVID shit. Mostly because, like, you know, it's just been a lot of work trying to balance some things that are going on in my life, that sort of thing. I would have liked to have released it maybe last month, the other thing that I'm working on here. And it's actually something that I like a lot more than, say, this just kind of random, give me some notices about stuff, that sort of thing. Because, like, you know, as an example of what this is going to look like, in case you're kind of wondering, what the hell is this guy's talking about? So if we're over in, like, say, WHM, got server here. If I go over to the contact manager, let's hope I've got a session here. Well, nope, doesn't look like I've got a session. Okay, let me pop up in a window and get me a session real quick. This is my session token, which I really don't care about. It's only going to be valid for me. So, anybody else use this in the stream? Too frickin' bad. This session's already claimed by me and my IP, so you can put it in, it's not going to work for you. Okay, so we've done that. Gonna go to list the account. Well, no, I'm not doing that today. We're going to contact manager. All right. So, anyways, for the contact manager, you go and take a look at the various drivers here that I've got installed. Email, ICQ, post URL, push bullet, SMS. Those are all ones that come with cPanel and WHM these days. But the XMPP drivers, the Slack driver, the IRC one, and the Discord one are all ones that I made for myself. So I'm not going to like show what the destination webhook is or anything like that, because that's all just based on what my own server is. But the point is, you generally get to see like a notification, either it's sent to your email, like say when backup's completed, something like that, or something went wrong, so you as the server administrator can go and do something about it, basically. And for me, you know, since I'm, you know, heavy into Twitch and always in a lot of people's Discords and that sort of thing all the time, and, well, cPanel, their public chat now is basically Discord. There's an IRC for it, but it's dead, unfortunately, just like most IRC channels these days. Some of the old hands are still in it, but that's basically about it. And so, like, say, if I go over to Discord, and, like, say I'm over in my network here, Teodesi Network. I've got me the Discord driver here giving me server notifications. You know, it's Captain Hook, the bot. Tells me the backup process completed, which is nice because I like keeping my backups up to date, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so we've got all that done. Let me get that away. And as you can see, I'm a fan of Mim's stream, also in T90 chat and the public cPanel. So now you know what streams I like if you don't already know. But anyways, so with that out of the way, we need to take a look at, okay, so what do we need to do to add something for this Telegram thing here, right? So got probably some ideas. The way that bots work for Telegram is kind of interesting. It's not like, say, Slack or Discord, where mostly you just get a webhook API token, and you just post to a URL, whatever your blob of text you want to post to whatever channel, and it just does it for you. There doesn't seem to be that sort of analog in Telegram, from what I can tell. Generally what I see is that it wants you to set up a bot, and there are webhooks, but it's kind of the opposite way around, where your bot is going to send a blob of data via webhook to your server, that sort of thing, as kind of a push notification based on something that's happening with your bot, something like that, instead of, say, an incoming webhook. It's kind of an outgoing webhook, which is it has some interesting types of applications, certainly. But, you know, we'll see how easy that is. I know certainly for some of the things where I have to do either a bot-based approach or one where it's more like building a client to work with it, like with the IRC driver, that was quite a bit more work. So it may ultimately have quite a bit of stuff that I have to go through with it, or like say with the XMPP one, where there's fully fledged clients in Perl and that sort of thing. NetXMPP does exist, but it's also really old and has some serious bugs, depending on what kind of server you're trying to connect to. So anyways, looking at the Telegram stuff, let's go back over here. So I've already been kind of loading up some of the Telegram code into just schema modules and the provider modules. I can kind of go over how you would want to make a custom provider that you want to install. Basically, you only need 3 modules. The first one here is going to be this schema one, which for anyone that knows anything about Perl, any Perl module has namespaces for any sort of object. If you're familiar with either object-oriented programming or just namespaces from general programming kind of knowledge, you'll see that's basically what this package declaration here is setting up this namespace for whatever package we have. So cPanel iContact Provider schema telegram says, okay, this is what the schema is going to tell us. And this schema module is whenever you saw like in Contact Manager to configure things, or say if you're in basic whost manager setup, that sort of thing, then you're going to be able to put in text to tell users, oh hey, what do I need to put in here? What do I need to do for that sort of thing? What image do I have to represent this? So this is necessary to tell the UI mostly what exactly we need to do with this module. So that's probably one of the first things to do is set this up so that you can at least have the thing configured, even if there's not really a kind of set thing that you've got going on with it. Just so that it can show up, you can be like, hey, at least I can configure it. Sure, it may be janky, something like that, whatever. At least we have something to test for now, you know. The other module, the second one, is kind of the meat of what you're doing here. You've got cPanel iContact Provider Telegram, so basically just chop the schema bit off. And you've got your actual meat of the program here. So it's going to have, well, now we're just doing overview right now. But anyways, this tells you how to actually send the notification. It gets the blob of data from WHM that it wants to send the thing, and you send off the thing. And the third thing that I'm going to really need here is just what anybody should need for any sort of program is a test. So you can see I'm basing this off of my Discord one. Excuse me. Basically just copied it. I'm going to replace Discord with Telegram, just with Vim substitution. And then I'll probably just, you know, change whatever provider bits to test it correctly, basically. And then, so that's basically all we need there. I have kind of interesting, you can see we've got like the author tests, if there's an environment variable set for that. We'll try to do a functional test to actually send a notification based on the test. This has been pretty useful for me. I know for the longest time I didn't have, like, say, a public cPanel and WHM box. I had, you know, some dev boxes, that sort of thing, working at cPanel, but like just a public one where I you know, could tinker around with that sort of thing. Yeah, I didn't really have that going on. So, like, having that helped me a little bit as far as doing it, but beforehand I mostly had to rely on these tests to verify that, yeah, okay, this actually can send the notification, that sort of thing, instead of necessarily like having a public box, because the link in the chain that breaks down whenever you don't have like a public box to test this sort of thing functionally on is DNS resolution. So it tries to send out a notification, but if your box isn't actually resolving, like, say, especially if it's an email notification, or if you're trying to do some sort of bot communication where the host names actually matter or something like that, then you may have problems. So anyways, that's how that all works. I'm going to go back over to our schema module here real quick and take a look at this. All this stuff up here, you can see, if you're not familiar with Perl, basically use strict as just, you know, do things that are considered best practice and enforce them effectively. And warnings, of course, just turns on warnings. Without it, there's no warnings. You'll still die if there's a fatal error or something, but like anything where it's like, whoops, I have an uninitialized value or something, it just doesn't warn about it. It's just like, pff, whatever. But anyways, you normally want to be doing that. And you can see, yeah, I've been doing a whole bunch of copy paste. You can see, like, the original one was cPanel, but now since cPanel no longer exists, that it doesn't even factor into the equation. So it's going to be schema for the Telegram iContact module. And this stuff here is called plain old documentation, or POD for short. Basically, you use these little equal tags to denote that you're starting some sort of block of documentation, so that whenever you say run perl doc lib cPanel iContact provider schema telegram, it will give you output that's some sort of man-like documentation, a Unix manual page kind of looking thing. You can do various different headers, that sort of thing. It's not the prettiest pod that I've got here, but anyways, it at least works for if somebody wanted to understand, without having to read the code necessarily, what the contract would be between the caller and the module here. You should at least be able to explain that to someone pretty easily so that they don't have to, I believe what ESR is now calling this sort of thing is wear the Forge Master's glove, something like that. You don't have to basically know what you're doing, so to speak, in order to use this sort of thing if it's properly documented and it works well, that sort of thing. And so far with this project, I've kind of wanted to go that direction where we're doing things with good testing, both on a functional aspect and both on like a structural level as well, so that we have good coverage and we also have good functional acceptance for what I want this to do, which of course, oh my god, we're all the way into nerd territory now, boys. Sips from beer. Okay. Anyways, let's take a look. So we're back in our schema module here, and our first block here, get settings. This effectively says, okay, what are we going to call this thing in our configuration on the back end? And the files that these get stored in on the back end is generally going to be over in Etsy www.account.conf, which is a pretty old cPanel and WHM config file, but some of the most crucial stuff lives in there. I'm definitely not going to open it up because there's oftentimes some pretty crucial secrets you can have in there that might compromise your server, that sort of thing. But there's also another one. You can see shadow, this little parameter here. It tells whether it goes into Etsy www.account.conf or Etsy www.account.conf.shadow, and the shadow one has different permissions than www.account.conf, mostly in that the shadow one can only be read by root. There are some like powered up resellers, that sort of thing, that can read www.account.conf, something like that. But yeah, definitely for your privileged information, you usually want to be putting that into the .shadow file. So like you can see here, we've got the contact whatever. For iContact modules, the key setting is always going to be prefixed with contact. And that will always be generally what either token, password, whatever the heck you're going to be using to authenticate with the server, or send data to the server. Whatever is the key thing that you're trying to save here, that's generally what you want your contact whatever thing to be in a contact, a custom iContact module. So we're going to change it from contact Discord to, of course, contact Telegram. Shadow 1, yeah, we should probably do that. Text is basically, okay, so if we have some sort of format that we want this to follow, then yeah, we should probably change that to whatever format we want it to ascribe to. And usually with a regex or a split, something like that. And you know, if there's any sort of formatting we want to do on the data as well, any sort of munging, you can see this like we're joining based on comma, grepping for something that looks like a URL. We're returning a string with just a mashed together with commas, something like that. So for like Discord, you could see we had incoming webhook things. If we had multiples, we just jam them together with commas, something like that. So, but for this, it's going to be slightly different. So I was looking at the bot API, that sort of thing. So if we go down to authorizing your bot, generally the bot father or whatever is going to give you a token, that sort of thing. I'm definitely not going to go over that here with y'all as far as like how I got the token that I have, something like that. That's going to be privileged information. But the idea that I've been seeing so far from just reading their documentation is I should be able to tell the users, okay, so set up whatever bot you have with that bot father thing that they're talking about, and then with that token, put that into whatever your contact telegram value is going to be here in WHM basic contact settings, and it should be able to authenticate as the bot and send the notifications. That's at least the working assumption that I'm going on from here for now. There may be a way where like I could just have it to where this cPanel and WHM bot is like set up once and I control it or something, but I don't know. I kind of don't like that idea. I like the idea of users being able to control their own bots, decommission it, having their own credentials for that sort of thing, mainly so that I don't have to maintain a bot if I don't want to. Anyways, so got that going on here, and instead of Telegram incoming webhook URLs, the label and the UI, we're going to want this to be Telegram bot token, I think. And then for our help, just going to edit that. You can see I put it in a variable here, $help. Any sort of variable in Perl's prefixed by $, sigil is what they're referred to as. And you can see this sub here, sub get settings, with this lexical block here. That's the brackets here. Well, not brackets, curly braces, I guess is the correct term for it. We're doing this with HereDoc. So if you look at the Perl doc for HereDoc, or just search for it with Google or whatever, you can see it's basically pretty simple. You just set up a word. Whenever that word is repeated, it's done. So, Telegram bot token. Token created for sending notifications to the bot you configured for sending cPanel and WHM notifications to users, I guess, in Telegram, separated by commas. I have a Telegram account. I use it to message a few people, that sort of thing, but like it's not my thing. I'm not as familiar with Telegram, that sort of thing, so this is kind of going to be a bit of an exploration for me. I may not finish this thing during my stream, this sort of thing, but then again, this is just a test stream for me, so I really don't care all that much about it. Let me check the chat, see if anyone actually came in. I doubt it. Of course not, man. It's a test stream. Why would anyone come here? Who cares? Okay, so anyways, so we have and yes, it's that bad, folks. We have line breaks in HTML inside my own little help text. It's, you know, mea culpa on that one, but whatever. It is what it is. So, in order to create for the token for the bot, for your bot, I think. Please message the bot father in Telegram, and it will make one for you. Okay, so that's going to be our help. That's all good there. Okay. 1 second. I'm going to mute my thing. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Had some personal business to take care of here. Oh, and of course, Doggy immediately decided to get on my standing mat because, you know, hey, it's my dog bed, right? Okay. So, anyways, let me see here. Okay. Back to what we're doing. Alright, so I think this check val for now looks like we've got a pretty standard looking format here. We're going to try to, I think, base our regex on that. So we're going to trim, of course, any sort of white space, which, any sort of input should do that. Return value if value equals, Q. So if the trimmed value is nothing, well, whatever. It's just spaces. So my URLs, so we're splitting based on that, but it's not going to be URLs in this case. It's going to be token. And I don't think we really need to support multiple with this with the bot, because the bot can multiply, notify multiple channels, do all sorts of other things like that. So it doesn't really make sense like incoming webhooks, which usually only go to like a user or a channel or something like that. So, excuse me. Okay, wet my whistle. Alright, let's see. So we will split on, well, token's just going to be the input, so I don't really care about that. So now we just need to either return value, but let's try to do a regex on it, I think. Yeah. Alright, so if value, well, let's go for if it does not match. And normally for regex you'll see these types of separators, because that's like what you can do in sed on the command line in Linux, that sort of thing, or just in general with PCRE, Perl compatible regex engine implementations. But with Perl you can use basically any sort of separator to delineate your regexes. I usually like to use the curly brackets myself, because you're usually not going to use curly brackets within a regex itself, but you are often going to use something like a slash to denote like a file path or something like that. In this case it probably won't matter, but whatever. So if our, looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, so some sort of number, some sort of alphanumeric, so let's go for 0 through 9. This is of course a character class, so I'm going to do plus because I don't know how many long this is going to be. It's probably just some sort of numeric ID that Telegram has in its database to signify this, who knows. And then we're going to have a colon character, so just do that. And then it's going to be some sort of some sort of alpha looking thing, so. And it looks like it's probably going to be actually capital, so just uppercase letters, and it's probably just going to be, who knows how many that's going to be. So we'll just use plus for now as well here. Going to use minus, and then, well, it actually looks like 3 specifically, so let's just go for 3. Although actually, yeah, in this case we do want to use slash, I think, so that we don't confuse our little, after our identifying group for these characters, we want to specify how many there should be. So, okay, and this one we're going to want 3 as well. Let's go A through Z again. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Marco Compositor and this GNOME 2, whatever successor it is. I still think of it as GNOME 2. Mate, I believe. But yeah, Marco as a compositor can sometimes be a disaster, at least when recording things, it seems. Guess it doesn't work very well with XSHM or something. I'll have to take a look at various different compositors. Maybe Compiz doesn't suffer the same sort of problem, but these are the sorts of things that we shake out with test streams. Let's see. So, we've got that. Let's take a look at... and we can write a test for this schema here pretty easily. And I think I'll do that to at least verify that my regex looks good. And I'll probably have that be kind of the capper for this stream, I think, is just finishing off my little regex here, because I think the stream's working out pretty well. Okay, so we've got that. We don't need another dash. We now have some sort of series of alphanumeric characters, looks like. So it's going to be a Z, and 0 through 9. And it looks like some large number of them. Some dash again, and then looks like that again. So okay, so that's going to be what my token looks like. And presumably, let's be a little bit smarter here, and let's make sure that we're matching the beginning of the string and the end, since we've already trimmed it. Okay, and if that value is not matching our regex, then it's going to be a bogus value, die bogus value. So anyways, we're just dying for now. I'll get a better message later. We're basically just doing this so that we can test it. Now get config down here. We've got a little bit more stuff going on here. You can see it's not that complex of a thing here. We've got our default level, which is all basically the default level corresponds to what's over in var cPanel clevels.conf, which is a backend configuration file that is managed by Contact Manager, where it says, okay, what priority do these messages have, and what destination should we send messages in what priority. So it's not that confusing so long as you kind of look in Contact Manager. So you'll see the receives column here. That's basically what the C levels is talking about. So you can see high, medium, all that sort of thing. And all the defaults do is just say, okay, we've recently installed this thing. What kind of receives value are we going to have if it's not actually set in clevels.conf yet? Okay. So anyways, we've got that all taken care of. Let's go and take a look. Display name's correct. Now for the icon, generally what we're going to do is make a SVG, or get an SVG or some sort of PNG. If it's a PNG, then we'll do like data image PNG and just like base64 encode it, something like that. If there's an SVG of the Telegram icon, then that's definitely what we'll want to use here. You can see we have in my license images.md file here, you can see a lot of these images are definitely not created by me. I mean, obviously, because they're associated with whatever's brand. So I'm always making sure that whenever I have some sort of image that I'm sourcing here, that I'm adding it to this file for licensing purposes to say, okay, this is, you know, this is okay to have here because I'm following their branding guidelines or whatever for what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm using the preferred image that they want us to use and linking to that. So what I'm going to be looking for now is, say, Discord's, or not Discord, but Telegram's branding assets. Telegram branding assets. What? Ay, ay, ay. Of course, Titanic search. Okay. So, let's take a look at... Okay. Telegram icon. Instagram. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so let's take a look at maybe their FAQ or something here. Icon. Disaster, amigo. Okay. So let's go back to their home. Maybe protocol? Secret chats. That's nothing that I care about. Applications, desktop apps, source code. Oh, hey, actually, looking at this, it looks like we may have some stuff that's on GitHub for a lot of this. So let's take a look at Telegram for web browsers, because if their image is in this repo and it's GPL, then that makes my life a lot easier too. So then I can just say, hey, this is licensed under GNU Public License 3.0, whatever, follow that license for its stuff. Okay, so webogram, maybe app, image, icon, about logos, nope. Maybe icon.svg, mempray. We got it. Perfecto. Alright, so this definitely looks like their URL. So let's do this. Telegram. East. And since we're using Markdown here, I'm going to link it with Markdown. Alright, and then I will find, just go back to code here, go to the license file, license, blob master. Okay. And I think that's all we got. Okay. So that will tell me all I need for that. And now I can okay, now time to view the raw thing here. Let's see, so icon.svg, open with the Pluma. There we go. So, got our SVG here. I'm going to copy this because the actual SVG here, a lot of these bits is probably not going to be very necessary here. Could probably be optimized. So let us take a look here. I'm going to undo this, see what we actually need here. Oh yes, and of course we're going to have to URL encode it. So disaster, amigos. Okay. Alright, so let's remember real quick what code, I think. Alright, so yes, that is correct. So, simple percent encode. I think it may be URI escape. Yeah, URI escape. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So, basically we just need to URI escape it, and then we'll be good to go. Alright, so cPanel Perl, third part. Oh, probably need to bin Perl. Good, it's there. Dash M escape. And this is, of course, me doing a Perl one-liner like a filthy pleb, but it will at least help us to get the output really easy. So, dash E, and let's print escape. Oh god, escape. Shoot me now. Well, I shouldn't paste that yet. I need to clean it up a little bit first. Alright, so let's get rid of the generator, Adobe Illustrator. Do we really need this? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take a look at an optimizer here. SVG opt. Because if you haven't used SVG OMG, it's real useful. Okay, so looks like we'll save 31% of the file size by optimizing it. So let's do that. Save file. Alright, so now back on home.svg. Let's open this one. Yeah, much better. Much better. So, right. Oh, I think I need to use Q on this instead. Yep. So instead of quote marks, I'm just going to use Q here to denote that this is a string. There's several ways to denote strings in Perl. You can be really tricksy with it. So then I'll print a new line so that I have a new line. Okay, so here is our encoded string here. That should be a-okay. Alright, so now all we have to do is mempray. Alright, let's see. Everything's still fine there. Alright, so we've got all that. Let us it's going to be schema program to cPanel Perl schema. Okay, so let's copy that over. Okay, so let's see here. I have that file copied over. So now whenever we go into WHM here, it should load up the actual schema module. We have an error timeout, so syntax error. Whoops, line 120. Okay, let's go back to our thing. Go back to 120. Oh, well, maybe I should stop being stupid and actually end our hash here. Yes. So all modules must end with 1, and we should also end our subroutine. Wait a sec. Wait a tick here. We're being really stupid here, aren't we? So I needed to insert here. There we go. That's better. Okay. Alright. Now let's see what that does. Okay, so contact manager loads, mempray. Got a Telegram icon. Great success, guys. We're doing good, boyos. And it's also on all. Everything's going groovy so far. Let us take a look at basic whost manager setup. And we should have search for Telegram. Okay, so yes, we have our Telegram bot contact here. Everything is good, and we are all happy on that front. So, with that, I think we've gotten the first start on what we're doing. Let's do the test up for the schema, and then we'll be done for the night. Alright, so let's see if we can copy one. Tab new, TC provider, schema Slack, TC provider. Yes, telegram.t. Now we'll kill out of that. But our copied one. Okay, so you can see this. We're using current working directory module, file base name, and using abs path to load the library directory. It's just some trickery to add these libraries without really having to install them or anything like that, which for a test, yeah, you kind of want to do that. Makes it easier on our lives. Alright, so setting getter method performs as expected, so we don't need contact Slack, we need contact Telegram. Alright, so now let's do schema Slack and settings. Okay. Sort key settings. Settings returned look okay so far. Let's replace Slack with Telegram. Alright, so settings returned look okay so far. For each my key of the model. Check val. So we're going to check our value, which is going to be our test value from Telegram itself. So let's use what the bot token is supposed to look like here as our design. So it should look something like that. And it should look exactly like what we passed in. Okay. Engage maximum no. And instead of contact Slack, let's What? Oh. Okay, done. So, contact Telegram, check val that. So some invalid one should do that. And then let's do... let's just try that. Things should be happy. Okay. Let's try our test. Prove t Telegram. What? No testing. Oh, whoops. Make test depend. So you're doing. Good. Check my make file here real quick. test. Okay, so my makefile here should install all of the test libs that I need to run this successfully on this machine. Oh, cPanel is doing its thing. Stay tuned, amigos. Stay tuned. Alrighty. Probably should use cPanel minus for this or something, honestly, but whatever. I actually kind of like that it runs the tests here, even though it's a bit slower, because I know it exposed, for some people, the XMPP driver failing, because whenever they were trying to run the XMPP test for like Google and that sort of thing, which is like a functional test that was in there, it would fail, and they were trying to like use the XMPP bridge to Google from their country or whatever, and since it was already failing for that module, I think it was like blocked or whatever for the XMPP bridge back then. It was like, well, not gonna work for you, amigo. Do you want to install it permanently? Yes. Test warnings, definitely on permanently. Man, intense cPanel action. Okay, so everything's done there. Now we should be able to run it. Test pass. Hey! Alright. We're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Okay, which means next time we're going to have on the stream finishing up the Telegram driver, doing the right thing to actually get it to send, since we've made it to where it already shows up in the UI and can be configured correctly. So, I'm gonna take a look at git status here. And git add t, git add lib, git add images, git status. Oh wait, I don't need to be on master. I do need to be on master. Check it out. That should be. And what is our issue here? Okay. ICP. Yes, ICP shall be my branch prefix. ICP21. Insane clown posse. Okay. Just get command at this point. Okay. Begin work on adding Telegram driver for number 21. Still to do. Now we only make UI and configuration bits. Okay, well, I'm in a tmux session here, so I'm going to detach real quick. cd git push. And it will hopefully tell me to set my origin, because I am lazy and hardly ever do that. What? What those dudes? Okay, so I'm going to exit here real quick, because I guess I don't have my SSH session. Okay, so I have my SSH session, so I get fudge? Oh, damn it. Okay, I see what I'm doing wrong here. Get remote dash me. Yep. It's not HTTPS. It's not HTTPS. This is communism. Okay, so I need to use SSH for my clone URL instead. Git remote move origin. Git remote add origin with the right one. Okay. Now let's retry that. Alright, cool. So, got a new branch. And let's take a look at the issue again. It should tag that we have the branch. Okay, so assign yourself. Alright, so we should see that I've began work on this. Yeah, that was the guy from Discord that was talking about it, so he should be pretty happy about that. Cool. Alrighty then. We are good to go. I don't think anyone actually hopped into the stream. At least didn't look like anybody hopped into the chat and said anything. So I think it was just me tonight. But alright. I think I had a pretty good time. Cool. I will leave it like that then, amigos. Thanks for joining the stream, and if you want to see more content from me, check me out, twitch.tv/Teodesi, and I'm going to upload this to YouTube, so hello YouTube for whatever this was worth. Bye-bye, guys.